Interesting, we've got the UK about to veer to the hard left with a Labor landslide at a time where most of Europe is going to the right, as we saw with the recent EU elections. So it's a fascinating time. Now, news of the Victorian government appointing a parliamentary secretary for men's behavioural change. How Orwellian. Well, it's been mocked far and wide, including by one of our fave comics, Ryan Long. Let's have a look.
Australia has officially appointed a Minister of Men's Behaviour Change, and he looks like a pretty cool guy who I would imagine is swimming in tons of However, because this guy is such a Chad, it appears the Australian government has forgot to appoint a Minister of Women's Behaviour Change. And so, I will be officially appointing myself, Ryan Long, to that position. I will be coming to Australia with my aggressive proposal to assist Australian ladies in improving their behaviour, which will include no more saying you weren't hungry and then eating off your boyfriend's plate. If you wanted that meal, you should have got that meal. This isn't a buffet. No saying they aren't like other girls, then being exactly like other girls. No more posting every moment of your life on social media. You get one post to showcase what you're doing a month, and the rest of the time you're just gonna have to live your life. And no more asking dudes to take the photos either. No more fist fighting with your wife, and that one obviously only pertains to lesbians. Stories about work will now be limited to 1 minute with the stated premise to be delivered within the first 30 seconds. No more shoplifting. Talking behind each other's backs, then pretending to be friends in public will be barred. OnlyFans chicks will only be allowed to scam the same man out of money once. He already got his money, keep it moving. No more turning this sucker into a whale. No more poisoning your husband. Women will only be allowed 1 day a month to have their periods, so whatever changes you gotta make to have that happen before I get there, I recommend you start now.
He's besmirched all of Australia with that policy. It is only just Victoria. But in the interest of equality, will we eventually get a parliamentary secretary for women's behaviour change, Dan, to battle toxic femininity, perhaps?
I wouldn't be holding my breath, Rita, for that to happen. And look, I mean, there's so many things you can say about this, but what I would say is it's just another example of the divisiveness of the Victorian government. That's been a theme of this government, whether it was in COVID, there was 2 sets of rules. If you were a Black Lives Matter protester, you could go out there and protest. If you were someone that didn't want lockdowns, you were arrested. Whether it's to do with the voice and the treaty process of dividing Victorians, the way they treated small business owners and workers as compared to big business and public servants. This is just another example in a long line of very divisive policies and a very divisive attitude, of the Victorian government. And I just think most people these days have just had a gutful of these sort of gestures where they, don't really understand why someone's getting so much money to take on what is clearly a divisive, tokenistic role. So, look, I think most people will hopefully see through this.